Rents are breaking records. Home prices look like phone numbers. Your landlord just raised the rent again and also just happens to own 3 Airbnbs by the beach. Coincidence? Not really. 10 years ago, your neighbor rented out the spare room sometimes. Now your entire building is a hotel with a bad personality. Tourists everywhere. Suitcases rolling at 2 a.m. But somehow, you still can't afford a place of your own. So what happened? How did one little share your couch for extra money startup help break the housing market? And more important, if you're just a normal pigeon trying to live somewhere that isn't your parents' couch, what does this mean for you? What even is the Airbnb economy? Imagine a simple city. Half the homes are for pigeons to live in. The other half are hotels for visitors. Clear line. Now enter Airbnb. It blurs that line completely. Suddenly, any home can act like a hotel. Spare room? Short-term rental. Whole apartment? Short-term rental. Grandma's basement with weird carpet? Also short-term rental. Some tourists will book it because the photos had nice lighting. But hosts realize something important. One normal tenant pays a fixed monthly rent. One tourist pays per night. And per night, money can be much higher. So the math changed. If you can make double the money using short-term rentals, why keep a long-term tenant? Why rent to the pigeon who just wants a stable home when you can rent to 10 different vacation pigeons with rolling suitcases and selfie sticks? A pigeon tried Airbnb, said his house was walking distance to everything. Closest grocery store? 5 hours away. Big liar. So what is happening in real cities? Take Barcelona. At one point, the city counted around 10,000 illegal Airbnb apartments. 10,000. And these were just the ones breaking the rules. Locals got mad. They started hanging banners from their balcony saying, "My home is not a hotel." If your house needs a sign to say it's a home, your city does not care about you. Then there's Bali, an island the internet sold as "move here, live like a king for cheap." Remote workers and digital nomads flew in with laptops and foreign salaries. They wanted villas with pools, fast Wi-Fi, smoothie bowls within walking distance of the beach. So in places like Canggu and Ubud, normal houses and rice fields quietly turned into digital nomad villas and Airbnb rentals. The minimum wage there is only a couple $100s a month. Then you get European and American pigeons making 10, 20 times that on their laptops. When both walk into the same rental office, it's pretty clear who wins. The local pigeon just gets a scratch-off ticket that says, "Sorry, you lose. Please try another country." These are just 2 places Pigeon picked, but there are hundreds more where the same thing is happening. But here's the problem. What happens when homes stop being homes? Housing is not just another product. Pigeons actually need it to live. It's not like sneakers or phones. If sneakers get expensive, you wear old shoes. If homes get expensive, you sleep in a car. Or you move back in with your parents and explain why you're 32 and still sharing the bathroom. So when a lot of homes become short-term rentals, the number of homes left for actual residents shrinks. Now imagine this not with 3 apartments, but with thousands, entire neighborhoods, whole downtowns. Investors notice. They start buying properties not to live in but to operate like businesses. Multiple units, all short-term, all optimized for tourists. Beds everywhere. But somehow actual residents can find a bedroom. On top of that, there is a second twist. Once prices rise because of all this, even owners who never heard of Airbnb get pulled in. They see their neighbor making huge money. They hear stories. "One apartment pays my entire mortgage. 3 listings replace my salary." So they copy. They raise rent, they convert units, they treat their place like a hotel too. So over time, the housing market stops being about who needs a home. It becomes who can squeeze the most money out of this building. Congratulations, your city is now a giant vending machine, except instead of snacks, it sells nights of sleep. And if you can't pay, there's always the bench, until they put that on Airbnb too. So what does this mean for pigeons like you and me? First, rent. It rises. Even if you never use Airbnb, even if you don't like tourists, you pay the price anyway. Because when there are fewer homes available to live in, landlords know they can charge more. Someone will pay. If not you, then the next pigeon in line, or some remote worker who just arrived with a tech salary and a dog. So you get stuck. You renew your lease even when the rent jumps. You move further away. You get more roommates than you ever wanted. You start saying things like, "The couch is actually pretty comfortable." That is a lie. The couch is never comfortable. Next, buying a home gets harder. Prices rise because investors treat homes as machines that print money. So, your dream starter apartment, already owned by a company with 50 other listings. They are not selling. They are optimizing yield. You save, you budget, you eat instant noodles, but the price keeps moving away from you. Then, neighborhoods change. Shops that locals used to need, like laundry, cheap food, and hardware, slowly get replaced. Souvenir stores, trendy brunch places, cocktail bars with chairs that are not comfortable but aesthetic. Why? Because tourists spend differently. They come for a few days. They splurge. They don't care if a coffee is absurdly expensive. They won't be here next month. But you will. You live here. You are stuck paying $7 every time you just want caffeine and quiet. Noise goes up too. More parties, more tourists who treat your building like a hotel they'll never see again. If you complain, the owner says, "Sorry bro, it's just for this weekend." But it's every weekend because that's the business model now. And this doesn't only hit famous tourist cities, it creeps into smaller towns, college areas, beach communities, any place with nice weather, good views, or even just decent Instagram spots. Suddenly the town where you grew up is the new hot weekend destination. Great for tourism, terrible for the pigeons who already live there. You see long-term neighbors disappear, young pigeons move away, teachers, nurses, service workers pushed out to cheaper areas, but they still have to commute back in to keep the city running. Every walk feels like you're in the background of 3 different vlogs. The statue in the main square becomes your best friend. At least he doesn't move away. So did Airbnb alone destroy the housing market? No, there are many forces. Low interest rates, lack of new construction, investors treating housing like a game, bad policy, slow governments. But the Airbnb economy poured fuel on top. It gave everyone a button. You press it and your home stops being just a home. It becomes a mini hotel, a little money machine. So thousands of pigeons pressed it, then tens of thousands, then companies, then funds. And when enough homes become money machines, they stop being homes for normal pigeons. That's why rent feels broken. That's why prices feel insane. That's why you walk through your city and feel like a guest in your own neighborhood. Suitcases everywhere, but no one you recognize. So, how can we fix this? Many places started to make new rules. New York said, no more whole apartments on Airbnb if the host is not there too. Some European cities said, you can only rent your place for a certain number of days per year. Other places said, you need a special permit to do this. If you don't have it, your listing is gone. Suddenly, governments remembered they can in fact do things. It's not perfect, but it's a start. You can also be honest with yourself. Airbnb is a tool. For some, it's survival. For others, it's extra profit. But when the tool becomes the main engine of housing, the system bends around it. And regular pigeons get crushed in that bend. So next time you open the app and see a cute little studio with fairy lights and plants, remember there might be a local who used to live in that building, who got priced out, who now lives farther away and spends an hour on the train just to serve brunch to the tourists staying in their old street. The Airbnb economy didn't invent greed. It just made it very easy to code into the housing market. And if you're a pigeon who just wants a quiet, stable place to sleep, welcome to modern housing, where even your pillow might be available for short-term stays. Subscribe to support Pigeon before his landlord turns his apartment into an Airbnb.